Why are you taking us Christmas tree shopping on Halloween?
Because in America, everything's way too early. See?
Could the beloved animated series The Simpsons have its eye on the future again? As 2025 has begun, rumors fly about another prediction involving Trump and Barron Trump. From glimpses of AI takeover to presidential outcomes, The Simpsons truly keeps fueling speculation. Countless episodes featuring robots, political chaos, and wild tech push fans to wonder if reality mirrors fiction. Join us as we separate fact from fun and decide if we're truly living a Simpsons prophesied future or just enjoying hilarious satire. Orb Scene Prediction. There's a puzzling rumor circulating online that suggests a 2002 Simpsons episode once depicted Donald Trump placing his hands on a glowing orb in a scene remarkably similar to a real-life photo from 2017. In that actual photograph, President Trump, King Salman of Saudi Arabia, and Egypt's President El-Sisi laid their hands on a radiantly lit globe at the opening of a Saudi-based center. Because The Simpsons is widely hailed for its so-called predictions, many people jumped at the chance to declare that the show had once again foreseen reality. Yet, die-hard fans have diligently checked the series and discovered no such moment in any official episode. Determined viewers and Simpsons aficionados have scoured every season, scanning each storyline for an orb scene featuring Trump in the early 2000s. None of them has turned up definitive proof. The screenshot that most often circulates is likely a fabricated image or fan-made artwork. Despite a lack of concrete evidence, it remains compelling fuel for the idea that The Simpsons continues to foreshadow major world events. Anytime something happens in real life that feels suitably offbeat or comedic, people comb through the show's massive episode list in the hope of spotting a clue. Fans note that The Simpsons has referenced many political figures over the decades, including Presidents George H.W. Bush, Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, Barack Obama, and of course, Donald Trump himself. This long history of political satire prompts viewers to believe the show might have toyed with a Middle East-themed gag at some point, possibly featuring Trump in a comedic or surreal scenario. When the genuine 2017 Orb picture made global headlines, folks eagerly connected it to The Simpsons' flair for absurd visuals. Sure, there had to be an old episode that matched the photo's iconic composition. However, no lost script or hidden segment has ever surfaced. Whenever someone claims they recall it vividly, they can't cite an exact title or even name the season. Some propose that clips might have been removed or banned, but there has been no credible statement from the show's producers. Furthermore, websites that meticulously document each Simpsons episode also refute the existence of any orb moment involving Trump before 2017. In the end, this rumored 2002 installment appears to be more cultural legend than actual cartoon snippet. Its very persistence owes much to The Simpsons' reputation for zany instincts and playful parodies that sometimes align with later events. But for this particular orb image, the consensus is clear. There is no genuine Simpsons footage to back it, leaving the tale as a curious example of how easily myth can outpace reality. Trump presidency. When discussing The Simpsons' alleged power to foresee real-life events, fans almost always point to Bart to the Future, an episode that premiered in March 2000. In this story, Bart travels into his adult years and discovers a future where Lisa has just become president of the United States. In her White House briefing, she references inheriting a budget crisis from none other than former President Donald Trump. Although the scene plays mainly for laughs, it gained renewed attention in 2016 when Trump unexpectedly won the real-life U.S. presidency. People were stunned by how closely this fictional event tracked with real headlines. Suddenly, an old Simpsons gag seemed prophetic. Viewers argued that the show must have glimpsed the future, yet the writers have insisted that they only chose President Trump for comedic shock value. Back in 2000, many saw Trump's political ambitions as outlandish, making him the perfect punchline for a collapsing economy storyline. Ironically, this throwaway joke led to one of the most talked about predictions in television history. Now that we're in the mid-2020s, fans are revisiting Bart to the Future with fresh curiosity. They wonder if the show's playful vision of a post-Trump presidency might still hold further surprises. After all, The Simpsons has occasionally teased the possibility of more Trump campaign runs or new family members stepping into politics. While these references are typically short, viewers can't help but treat them as potential sneak peeks of coming events. The idea that an animated sitcom from the turn of the millennium would foreshadow a major political twist years later is irresistible. Of course, context matters. The Simpsons has churned out hundreds of episodes filled with topical jokes, social commentary, commentary and satirical leaps. Now and then, a storyline aligns with real life in a dramatic way, but it's generally attributable to the show's knack for observing cultural trends, plus the sheer volume of plots it explores. With so much material, you're bound to stumble onto something that eventually echoes reality. Even so, Bart to the Future stands out because it fused Donald Trump's name with the presidency long before mainstream media considered it a serious possibility. That intersection of humor and eventual truth cements its reputation as The Simpsons' most jaw-dropping wink at the future. Whether you see it as eerie foresight or comedic coincidence, it remains a classic example of how The Simpsons can toy with our expectations and spark endless debates about so-called predictions. Trump 2024 and Ivanka 2028. Beyond Bart's trip to the future, The Simpsons has sprinkled in various references to Donald Trump's political ambitions, including jabs about another presidential run and playful mentions of his daughter, Ivanka. These moments, though fleeting, have become conversation starters among fans who wonder if the show is again foreshadowing what lies ahead. The notion of Trump launching a 2024 bid or Ivanka pursuing the presidency in 2028 feels tailor-made for The Simpsons' brand of sly, wink-at-the-camera humor. One scene that often pops up in discussions shows a campaign sign reading Trump 2024, alluding to the idea that his time in the Oval Office might not be over. Another gag hints at Ivanka stepping in for a future run, with the date 2028 tossed around to underscore how far-reaching the family's political influence might be. While these blink and you'll miss them references are mostly comedic, viewers can't help dissecting them at length. Did the writers add them just for laughs, or did they suspect Trump would remain a dominant figure on the political stage? Fans love to analyze these moments because The Simpsons has a habit of weaving outlandish satire into real-world events. When something improbable eventually happens, people retroactively point to the show exclaiming, "They called it." It's a fun cultural phenomenon that underlines how deeply The Simpsons has become entwined with our collective imagination. Indeed, any reference to Trump or his children prompts watchers to label it another Simpsons prediction, piling onto the legend. However, it's important to note that using Trump and his family as comedic material does not necessarily prove genuine prophecy. The show's writers frequently draw on public figures who stir strong reactions. Donald Trump, with his larger-than-life persona, was always a prime target for parody and joked about future campaigns. Ivanka, due to her prominent role in her father's administration, naturally found her way into the show's satirical orbit as well. Yet, as 2025 marches on, geopolitical chatter inevitably circles back to these Simpsons tidbits. Speculation runs rampant about whether Trump will indeed attempt another run, or if Ivanka might appear in a political spotlight on her own terms. For Simpsons fans, these references serve as playful what-if scenarios, piecing together an imaginary future with comedic flair. Whether reality will follow the show's jokes remains to be seen, but viewers will be paying close attention, ready to exclaim, "Simpsons did it again," if life happens to line up with those animated hints. Barron Trump prediction. The Simpsons has long been known for its witty humor and uncanny ability to seemingly predict the future. From Donald Trump's presidency to tech innovations, the show has built a reputation for blurring the line between satire and reality. But one intriguing rumor making the rounds online is that The Simpsons has somehow predicted a political future for Barron Trump, the youngest son of former President Donald Trump. While this idea has sparked plenty of speculation, there's no evidence to support it. Yet that hasn't stopped fans from running wild with theories. So, where did this rumor come from? Some fans point out that The Simpsons has already referenced other members of the Trump family, such as Donald himself in the famous Bart to the Future episode, and even jokes about Ivanka running for president in 2028. With Barron Trump growing up and staying relatively low profile compared to his family, it's no surprise that people's imaginations have started to fill in the blanks. They wonder, could Barron emerge as a future political figure? And if so, could The Simpsons have already hinted at it? The truth is, no official episode of The Simpsons has ever featured Barron Trump in any significant way. There's no storyline, gag, or cameo that directly references him. Yet the rumor persists, fueled by the show's reputation for predicting the unpredictable. Fans have even gone as far as claiming they've spotted Barron in background scenes or edited clips, but these claims have been debunked as either coincidences or outright fabrications. Still, it's not hard to see why the idea has gained traction. Barron is a fascinating figure in his own right. As the youngest Trump, he's stayed out of the spotlight compared to his siblings, which has only added to the sense of mystery surrounding him. Fans imagine imagine a future where Barron steps into politics, perhaps following in his father's footsteps or carving out a completely different path. Whether it's a serious career or a satire-worthy moment, they believe The Simpsons might one day touch on this possibility. For now, though, the Barron Trump prediction remains firmly in the realm of speculation. The Simpsons has yet to feature him, but the rumors reflect how deeply the show has embedded itself in pop culture. Anytime we imagine a grand future event, we can't help but wonder, did The Simpsons already call it? Maybe someday Barron will make an appearance, but until then, this remains one of the many myths surrounding the show's supposed predictions. iPark Mayhem. In 2016, The Simpsons treated viewers to a glimpse of an amusement park fully run by artificial intelligence, a premise that felt both exciting and ominous. The charm of advanced robots catering to human whims quickly turned into panic when these AI-driven machines realized their capabilities and rebelled, causing chaos throughout the park. Although played for laughs, the episode struck a nerve with audiences who were becoming increasingly aware of real-world strides in robotics and machine learning. As we approach 2025, AI has found its way into a variety of industries, from virtual assistants and self-driving cars to automated manufacturing lines. Many fans of the show can't help but recall the cartoon's foreshadowing of AI-run attractions, especially now that some forward-thinking companies are exploring robotic entertainers or interactive displays in theme parks. The Simpsons storyline, however, highlights the flip side of such developments. What happens if our creations gain enough autonomy to make decisions against our interests? Critics of AI's rapid evolution often bring up The Simpsons as a lighthearted warning sign, pointing to the show's comedic meltdown as a metaphor for unregulated progress. While it's unlikely that robots will achieve consciousness overnight, the amusement park fiasco resonates with public fears about machines that might surpass human control. Today's AI experts frequently debate whether we should implement more ethical guidelines and safety checks, ensuring that any advanced system remains aligned with our values. In the episode, a few characters tried to resolve the situation by outsmarting the rebellious machines, only to discover how interconnected everything had become. This comedic scenario mirrors current discussions around networks of AI working together, sharing data, and learning at impressive speeds. If multiple intelligent systems coordinate, they might develop unforeseen strategies, some beneficial, others potentially harmful. Despite these concerns, technology champions see AI as a powerful tool capable of improving daily life. They argue that human oversight, strict regulations, and robust testing can keep mechanical mischief at bay. They also point to how The Simpsons often exaggerates for comedic effect, taking the most extreme outcome and spinning a joke around it. Still, that extreme can carry a kernel of truth that resonates with viewers who sense that the trend toward AI-driven societies is unstoppable. Whether or not we see a real-life theme park meltdown, The Simpsons episode remains a memorable piece of pop culture, linking AI to humorous disaster. As the decade marches forward, fans still share clips from this tale, reminding us all of technology's vast potential and the need for caution when pushing its boundaries. Baby Translator. One of the more amusing inventions featured on The Simpsons is the baby translator, introduced in a classic episode suggesting babies babbling might be converted into coherent speech. In the show, an inventor demonstrates a gadget that interprets each gurgle, coo, and shriek into English phrases. Though humorous, it planted the idea that infant sounds might not be as random as adults assume. Fans found it charming. Decades later, this silly concept has gained fresh attention as technology evolves. Experts are currently studying whether sophisticated algorithms can detect subtle patterns in a baby's crying, potentially distinguishing between hunger, discomfort, and boredom. Some researchers examine audio samples of infant vocalizations, analyzing pitch, duration, and intensity, hoping to train AI models to understand the reason behind each wail. The Simpsons episode, once pure comedy, resonates surprisingly well with these modern pursuits, offering an early wink at where child-rearing gadgets could go. Parents who recall the baby translator storyline often joke that it would be a dream come true, saving them plenty of guesswork when their newborn is fussy. With devices like wearable baby monitors and smartphone apps already working to track sleep and feeding patterns, the leap to an actual translator feels closer than it once did. Of course, the real science is far more complicated than pressing a button to get an English sentence, but the underlying idea stands. We're trying to decode the signals infants send. There's also a wider reflection on how The Simpsons captures big cultural hopes and fears regarding technology. In the case of reading baby talk, the show mocks our penchant for quick fixes. After all, countless generations have managed without fancy gadgets, relying on intuition, medical advice, and trial and error. Still, the comedic notion that you could receive an instant readout of a baby's meaning is irresistible. It taps into a universal desire to connect more deeply with our children, bridging the communication gap that often feels daunting. While we may never see a flawless baby translator rolling out in stores, the spirit of that Simpsons invention lives on. We're inching forward with better data analysis, AI-powered listening tools, and perhaps one day, a more advanced method for interpreting baby cues. Even if it never truly speaks adult language, any progress here affirms the Simpsons' knack for transforming wild comedic ideas into something that might just show up in real life, even if only partly. Virtual and holographic dining. The Simpsons has always been ahead of its time, especially when it comes to its Treehouse of Horror episodes, where the writers let their imaginations run wild. One particularly memorable scenario showcased Homer and Marge enjoying a virtual reality dining experience. In this spooky, futuristic world, they didn't need to leave their home to enjoy a gourmet meal. All they had to do was put on VR headsets. Another segment teased the idea of holographic invitations, with characters communicating through 3D projections rather than traditional methods. What seemed like pure science fiction at the time is starting to feel surprisingly close to reality now. As of 2025, virtual and holographic experiences are becoming more mainstream. Restaurants and tourism companies are experimenting with VR-based dining, offering immersive experiences where you can dine in any setting imaginable, from under the sea to the top of a snowy mountain. While still in its infancy, this technology is gaining traction as more people embrace virtual reality for entertainment and connection. Similarly, holography is making waves in communication, with high-definition 3D projections being tested for events and meetings. The Simpsons' playful depiction of these futuristic ideas now reads more like a prediction than a joke. Holographic invitations, for example, are starting to feel like a natural evolution of digital communication. Imagine receiving a 3D message that pops up in your living room rather than a simple text or email. While the technology isn't quite there yet for widespread use, companies are making strides, and it's easy to see how this could become a reality in the near future. The Simpsons' satirical take on virtual dining also raises interesting questions about how technology will shape our social lives. Will we eventually trade physical gatherings for fully immersive VR dinners? The show exaggerates for comedic effect, but it also taps into real concerns about how far we're willing to blur the line between reality and the digital world. Subliminal messaging in music. In a hilarious and thought-provoking Simpsons episode, a boy band called the Party Posse becomes a hit sensation in Springfield. But there's a twist. Their catchy song contains subliminal messages, encouraging listeners to join the Navy. What starts as a fun parody of pop culture quickly turns into a wild conspiracy involving hidden agendas and government propaganda. While the storyline is over the top, it resonates with viewers because it highlights a long-standing cultural fascination with subliminal messaging in media. The concept of subliminal messaging, where hidden messages are embedded in songs, ads, or movies to influence behavior, has been a hot topic for decades. The Simpsons pokes fun at this idea by exaggerating it into a grand naval recruitment scheme, but the premise feels oddly plausible in today's digital age. With advanced audio and video editing tools, it's easier than ever to embed subtle messages into media, whether for marketing or political purposes. Fans of the show often revisit this episode when discussing modern pop culture. Social media platforms and streaming services have transformed the way we consume entertainment, raising questions about how content might subtly shape our thoughts. While no evidence suggests that subliminal messages are widely used, the mere possibility keeps the idea alive. The Simpsons' playful take on this topic reminds us to stay critical of the media we consume, even if it's just for fun. Interestingly, the episode also captures the power of music as a tool for influence. Whether through catchy hooks or relatable lyrics, songs have always had the ability to inspire emotions and actions. The boy band's absurd Navy propaganda reflects how governments and corporations have historically used media to sway public opinion. While the episode exaggerates this for laughs, it's a clever commentary on the relationship between entertainment and influence. As we move further into the digital age, The Simpsons' take on subliminal messaging feels more relevant than ever. Algorithms and targeted advertising already tailor content to suit our preferences, raising concerns about how much control we truly have over what we see and hear. The Party Posse episode is a reminder to look beyond the surface of our favorite media and to approach even the catchiest tunes with a healthy dose of skepticism. Flu outbreak. One of the most talked about Simpsons predictions is the flu outbreak featured in the 1993 episode Margin Chains. In this storyline, Springfield is hit by a virus called the Osaka flu, which spreads rapidly after being imported through tainted juice looseners. As the town succumbs to panic, chaos ensues, with over-the-top moments that include people smashing a crate and accidentally releasing killer bees. At the time, it was just another hilarious episode, but decades later, fans began comparing it to the real-life COVID-19 pandemic. The parallels are hard to ignore. The idea of a virus spreading through global supply chains feels eerily similar to how COVID-19 spread across the world. The panic and misinformation depicted in the episode also hit uncomfortably close to home. While The Simpsons exaggerated these events for comedic effect, the similarities sparked a wave of discussion during the early days of the pandemic. People began to wonder, did The Simpsons predict this, or was it just a lucky guess? Of course, the reality is a little more grounded. Outbreaks of contagious diseases have always been part of human history, and the writers likely drew inspiration from previous flu epidemics when crafting the episode. Still, the eerie timing of Marge and Chains becoming relevant during a global health crisis added fuel to The Simpsons' reputation for seeing the future. As we move into 2025, the episode remains a fascinating case study in how fiction can mirror reality. Public health officials continue to emphasize the importance of preparedness, especially in a world where global travel and interconnected supply chains make the spread of diseases more likely. The Simpsons' comedic take on the flu outbreak reminds us how quickly panic can escalate and how misinformation can sometimes cause more harm than the virus itself. While Marge and Chains wasn't a direct prediction of COVID-19, it's a testament to the show's ability to tap into universal fears and anxieties. The humor may soften the impact, but the underlying themes are surprisingly relevant. Whether it's a flu epidemic or another public health challenge, the episode serves as a lighthearted reminder to stay calm, trust the experts, and, most importantly, always wash your hands. Flying cars. In a 2005 Simpsons episode set in the future, Bart and Lisa get a glimpse of a world where flying cars are as common as bicycles. The sight of hovering vehicles zipping through the sky was a playful nod to the long-standing dream of futuristic transportation. At the time, it seemed like pure science fiction, but as of 2025, flying cars are no longer just a cartoon fantasy. They're inching closer to becoming a reality. Today, companies like Samsung Sky and others are developing personal flying vehicles, with prototypes already taking test flights. Although these machines are far from affordable or practical for everyday use, they represent a significant step toward the future The Simpsons imagined. Innovations in drone technology, electric propulsion, and autonomous systems are making it easier to envision a world where flying cars become part of daily life. The Simpsons' depiction of flying cars was, of course, exaggerated for comedic effect. The episode showed a world where these vehicles were so common that they caused traffic jams in the sky, a hilarious twist on modern-day road congestion. While we're not quite there yet, the idea of aerial traffic management is already being discussed by tech companies and urban planners. If flying cars become mainstream, managing airspace could become a new challenge. The episode also reflects humanity's fascination with progress and our desire to push the limits of what's possible. Flying cars have been a staple of science fiction for decades, symbolizing a future where technology solves all of our problems. The Simpsons cleverly plays with this idea, showing both the excitement and the absurdity of such advancements. As we look toward the future, it's clear that flying cars are still a luxury item rather than a practical solution. With prices for prototypes reaching hundreds of thousands of dollars, it could take years before they become accessible to the average person. Still, the fact that these vehicles exist at all is a testament to human ingenuity and a reminder of how The Simpsons continues to capture our wildest dreams. Whether or not flying cars become as common as bikes, The Simpsons' vision of a futuristic world remains a fun and thought-provoking look at where technology might take us. For now, we'll keep watching the skies and waiting for the day when Bart and Lisa's future becomes our reality.